Hey guys, so together with Kurasami's FR will be Rain's FR in the same banner, and it is not new. Rain FR has already been, we got it previously several months back, so anyone who already has him green with his FR max, then it is a free upgrade. So basically what's new is that now he has his echoes. Right? So let's just talk about Rain's FR. So apart from his echoes, he actually get a rework on his FR as well, or not technically a rework, but when he unlocked the echoes, the passives, he get additional effect on his FR. So now his FR allows the entire party to launch, and that is crazy. That is actually really good. And on top of that, it has 20% HP damage limit up during launch. So during launch, which means like when you are attacking and before the enemy launch, that is not during launch. So after the enemy is up in the sky, then you have your allies follow up. So that is during launch. So any follow up attack that happens after a launch, then it has 20% HP damage limit up. Okay, and as for his HP damage bonus, it is 90%. So I did a typo there. It is not 100%, it is 90% because when Rain launch, that's 30, and 2 ally follow up, that's 40, so that's 70, and now Rain's follow up himself during launch, so that's another 20%, so that's total of 90%. But if you use his S1 or S2, and if it's boosted, then that is 100%. And if the ally launch the enemy instead, so that's a total of 60% because instead of 30 to launch, for ally it's only 20%, but each follow-up is another 20 and 20, so total up is 60%. So if you average out, we get approximately of 90 plus 60 plus 60, that's about 210, so that's 70% a turn cycle. What I mean by turn cycle, meaning that in a turn, in a cycle, you have Rains and then the other 2 ally to act, right? So nobody is getting like consecutive turn or double turns. And 70% is actually considered pretty generic in the sense that if you use Kurasame or Penelo or who else? Neon is also 70%. So his FR is definitely a good FR to be used as the main FR, but only provided if the enemy does not block your launch. So if you have like Rain's turn and then the next turn's enemy, then you will not be able to get a full launch unless you turn manipulate and bring everyone forward. And during your party's turn, they could not turn manipulate, so if an enemy is blocking them, then you probably will end up getting maybe 20-40% at most. So it really depends. So utilize delay, delete, or simply just enter summon phase. But just be careful, because if you plan to use Rain's FR and then BT later on, then you may not be able to get out of the summon phase to activate his BT. So either you enter summon and then maybe on the second or third turn during summon only you activate Rain's FR so that you can activate his BT at the end. And Rain's FR has turn manipulation, so that technically can be a blessing, or it can outright just be really annoying, especially when you want set up for Rain's BT phase after activating his FR. Like some characters, you can have consecutive turns, like you just FR, BT, and then enter BT phase, right? So it's rather easy that way, but Rain's, you can't really do that because his FR turn manipulates as well. He will bring the other character forward. So if all your characters have echoes, then it won't be as bad, because at least when you bring them forward, then they can use their echo, which is a good setup. But if you are bringing character that doesn't have echoes, then you are wasting your FR phase turn, and by the time after you activate his BT and enter into his BT phase, then you probably have maybe 5 or 4 turns left, so you cannot optimize his entire BT phase. But generally the pros outweigh the cons, and I would still consider that turn manipulation is actually a very good mechanic to have. And also do note that if Rain's uses his BT finisher BT finisher during his FR phase, he will not be able to launch. so he will not be able to generate any HP damage bonus, right? So do keep that in mind. And his BT effect is only 6 turns, so if you want to use his BT before FR, then you won't be able to get a full optimized BT phase with all his 7 HP down follow-up. So in that sense, he is not that direct to play. You have to really think about how you want to organize his setup, right? So, but don't be too worried about it, because whatever that he do, the damage is usually sufficient for you to win the current Shinryu fight. Anyway, regarding launches and follow-up, do consider bringing aura bots like Sarah or Garnet, those that provide Brave Refund, because you would want the entire party to be fully batteried for launch, so that at least they can deal maximum damage, because some of the attack, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't battery the party before launch. And especially during allies turn, they will not be able to battery the party for launch, so it's good to bring those characters along. And if you bring Sarah and Garnet, then Reigns will have sufficient overflow. So about a week or two ago, we tested that if with sufficient overflow, when you activate Reigns FR and then you cancel it, because its FR allows you to target a character and you can cancel it, his Brave will overflow, right? It will go above his HP damage limit cap, because when he uses FR, he will gain a new HP damage limit, which is additional of 250%. So in that sense, after you cancel it and you use a normal attack, that first HP dump of that normal attack will be equivalent to a FR attack. So that kind of like increase additional 1 or 2 HP dump for Reigns. So that is actually pretty fun to abuse. As for his BT, do we need his BT? I would say definitely yes. If he does not have his BT, his damage is kind of mediocre. It's okay, but not great anymore. So definitely need his BT to ensure that he shine as a DPS character. So his BT gives him 7 HP dumps, a follow-up attack with 7 HP dumps. So if you include 2 launch, that's a total of 9 HP dumps. And on top of that, his BT provide party 30% HP damage limit up and additional 20% during launch. So that's total of 50% HP damage limit up. So you can ensure that the 7 HP downs will really do really huge damage. And given a full launch together with the follow-up attack, that is an additional of another 30% launch damage. So overall, he will hit really hard. If you consider Tifa as a single target DPS for melee, then Reigns is a single target DPS for magic. And yeah, so for Reigns kit, his EX cleanses and dispel, so that's really a good utility to have. And his HP plus and EX delays, then he turn manipulate. So he is really a good character, like if you want to prevent enemy from having turns, or if you want to control the fight with turn manipulation, then he is really useful. And his constant launch and damage really makes him a good DPS overall. If again, right, similar to what I mentioned for Kurasame, if you plan to skip on Reigns, please do not skip on his LDCA. His LDCA allows the unit to launch as long as if the LDCA effect is active, and if you enter a BT phase together with that, then the entire BT phase you will be able to launch the enemy, and that really increases about 20 to 30% of the overall damage dealt during a BT phase. So to me, it is really important and one of the best LDCA that we have right now. So at least for that, it's a must pull for me. And also, just to mention, his launch follow-up attack ignores defense. And this is very crucial for the upcoming Shiva Spiritus, because that fight is really restrictive. And if you want to skip on Edgar, then you have to get Reigns, because those are the few characters that actually can defeat the fight. And if you don't get Reigns now, then you definitely need to pull on Edgar, right? So, yeah, but that depends. Even if I say so, it depends that if you have calls that inflicts weapon Imperials like Irvine, Hope for Magic, and Orin for melee. So if you have those, then you can use Rain to defeat Shiva, or else it's better still to get Edgar. But anyway, that talk is for later. So anyway, overall, I would give Rain's 8.5 over 10. Pretty good character overall, and good luck with your pulls.